An accident sets off a chilling chain of events for Sam Bliss.
What sort of mother removes her child from intensive care?
Probing the mind of a disturbed child.
I don't know why I was there.
She's hiding something.
Tormented by demons he can't control.
Keep away from my son.
I'm sorry, Sarah. You don't have a choice anymore.
The answer lies in a psychic revelation.
You're suggesting that Jonathan is homing in on a twin that's been dead for over 10 years.
Bliss, Thursday at 8:30 on Carlton.
Gentlemen, this is a phenomenon. These pictures have been enhanced. Note this extraordinary object. It's got a powerful 16-valve engine and ABS. Look here, the name, highly unusual. And what is wrong with this picture? Precisely, air conditioning. This Desire costs just $13,990 on the road. It's one of 3 limited edition Xantias available now.
The Citroen Summer Phenomenon. Now there's something you don't see every year.
Unfortunately, we have no idea what this creature is.
You've just had a bounty. Bounty. Taste the exotic.
New Nutrair Bin Odor Neutralizer from Hayes.
Right, boys, let's go.
Gets rid of bad smells by releasing its odor-neutralizing active agents for up to 4 weeks. Nutrair Bin Odor Neutralizer. Another effective solution from Nutrair.
New improved Mr. Sheen has a unique anti-static dust guard that now keeps dust away for 5 days. New Mr. Sheen keeps dust away for 5 days.
Ah, our new coffee. Did I tell you we've had problems? Not with the beans you sent. The coffee's fantastic. It's what we call it. Is it Kenko rich and fulsome, full-bodied and aromatic, aromatic and full-bodied?
Really rich.
Really rich. Kenko really rich. It's brilliant. How can I ever thank you? It's good, but not that good.
New Kenko Really Rich. Real coffee taste in an instant.
I'm really looking forward to my live swap with Margaret, the curator of the Museum of Science and Natural History. And I think she'll enjoy our week as a glamour model. Interesting.
Could you tell me exactly what qualifications do you have for this job?
Qualifications? Well, I've got my bronze swimming badge, and the optician said I'd done very well in the eye exam.
Tonight at 10:40 on Carlton.
Tomorrow at 10:40 we explore alien life. We are not alone. You're watching Carlton.
From ITN News at 10 with John Suchet.
The battle to survive after a collision in space. Commons' anger as Diana abandons talks on landmines. Threat to holidaymakers after cabin crews vote to strike. And a late reward for fans who braved the Wimbledon rains. Good evening. The Russian space station Mir, with the British-born astronaut Michael Foale on board, was hit today by an unmanned cargo vessel. The collision left Mir holed and badly dented. It lost air pressure and nearly half its electrical power, but none of the 3 men on it were hurt. They're said to be in no immediate danger and have a craft to bring them back to Earth if they need it. Our Moscow correspondent Julian Mannion reports.
Tonight, the Mir space station is in the worst trouble of its 11-year history. The hull of one of its 6 modules is punctured, and the air in that section has leaked into space. The 3-man crew has retreated to safety elsewhere, but solar panels have been damaged, and the crew is reporting problems with the electricity supply. Here in Moscow, Russian experts are working frantically to stave off an emergency evacuation that would spell disaster for their entire manned space program. The accident took place during a test on a new docking system. The Progress supply ship was deliberately undocked and then brought back again. Somehow the ship took the wrong line. drifted past the docking port and slammed into the solar panels of the Spectre scientific module, cracking its hull. Inside Mir, the British-born astronaut Dr. Michael Foale and his 2 Russian colleagues realized that they had only a short time to avert disaster. They could feel in their ears that the space station was depressurizing, and they knew that they had to seal off the damaged module. Heavy electric cables running through the station had to be severed, and it took them several anxious minutes to close the hatch and ensure their safety. The now abandoned Spectre module served as Dr. Michael Foale's sleeping quarters. It also contained virtually all the American scientific equipment on Mir. It was in May that Dr. Foale went up in the shuttle Atlantis to join the space station's crew. He had been intensively trained in emergency procedures during a stay in Russia, training that must have served him well today. In Britain, Michael Foale's mother heard news of her son in a phone call from NASA.
It appears that this was a very unfortunate accident, which I'm sure they're very upset about, but it isn't life-threatening.
Today's collision is the latest in a catalogue of troubles on the aging Mir space station. This year, oxygen generators have failed, the cooling system has leaked, and there's been a fire. But today, the Russians came the closest they've ever been to ordering the crew into the emergency escape craft, which is permanently docked with Mir, and abandoning the station. Experts in Moscow say that Russian space officials are determined to avoid that step, if at all possible.
They insisted that the station have to function, and they will do everything possible to do it. That's no question about it.
Staff at the Russian Space Agency are clearly shocked by the collision, and already the hunt is on to find causes and possibly to fix blame. Some fingers are now being pointed at the Russian commander of the Mir crew, Vasily Sibliev, who apparently made a docking mistake on a previous mission. But the most urgent efforts are now being devoted to try to find ways of saving the station and preserving Russia's once prestigious manned program in space. Julian Mannion, News at 10, Moscow.
The Prime Minister published his new proposals for peace talks in Northern Ireland today and said he wanted them to start by September and finish by next May. Mr. Bliar said whatever Sinn Féin said or did now, he was determined to move on. Sinn Féin tonight promised to give its fullest consideration to the proposals. Our Ireland correspondent, John Irvine, reports.
This afternoon, 9 days after the IRA killed 2 RUC officers, a man was taken to court charged with the murders of Constables John Graham and David Johnston. The accused is Colin Duffy, who last October was celebrating his acquittal by the Court of Appeal, which found him innocent of another serious charge. Colin Duffy was handcuffed when he appeared in the dock, flanked by 6 uniformed RUC officers. The court was told that when Duffy was formally charged this afternoon, he denied the 2 murders. He was remanded in custody to appear in court again next month. As Tony Blair announced his new initiative, he said last week's murders had changed the political landscape.
The credibility gap the IRA and Sinn Féin have to bridge is wider than ever after Lurgan. Whatever Sinn Féin now say or do, I am determined to move on.
And this is the timetable Mr. Blair set out. Substantive talks must start by early September and must be completed by the end of May next year. Plus, Sinn Féin will only be allowed to join the peace talks 6 weeks after an unequivocal IRA ceasefire. On the issue of terrorist weapons, Mr. Blair said he wanted decommissioning alongside negotiations.
There can be no question of trading guns for political concessions in all this. There will need to be genuine progress in both decommissioning and the political negotiations if the process is to be successful.
Earlier, Mr. Blair met Margaret Gibney, the schoolgirl whose appeal for peace had helped motivate him. He said he owed it to her to stop the killing. But in Belfast today, security forces thwarted an IRA ambush. 2 assault rifles were taken away in boxes. As politicians discussed the handover of weapons, the IRA were preparing to use them. John Irvine, News at 10, Belfast.
Princess Diana today pulled out of her planned meeting with the all-party Landmines Eradication Group at the House of Commons. She'd been criticised by some Conservative MPs for involving the royal family in politics, and she said her attendance had been made untenable. Here's our royal correspondent, Nicholas Owen.
In New York tonight, potential buyers for Princess Diana's gowns.
The long-awaited auction of 79 dresses begins in an hour or so's time to raise millions for cancer and AIDS charities. Earlier, a camera-shy Diana flew in from New York and promptly cancelled a meeting with the Commons Landmines Group, her office explaining it was untenable after a political dimension was introduced. The independent MP Martin Bell was among those annoyed she'd been discouraged. Government spokesman blamed the Tories.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has helped to raise the profile on this issue, and I think it is entirely regrettable she's had to withdraw because of pressure from members opposite.
It's a cross-party issue, this, nothing to do with individual parties, and it's quite wrong to make it so, and frankly I'm disappointed that any member should be so short of media coverage that they've got to descend to this level. Frankly, I'm very dismayed.
Diana saw landmine victims in Angola. She supports a worldwide ban on the weapons. She's talked too of her desire to avoid politics.
I am not a political figure, and as I said at the time, and I'd like to reiterate now, my interests are humanitarian.
But royal officials are worried that, lacking a private secretary to guide her, embarrassments can occur. On Monday, she had to apologise for taking underage Prince Harry to a 15 film condemned by some for glamorising the IRA. Royalty and politics do mix sometimes. Prince Philip addressed an all-party group of MPs on population and development in 1994. Members of the Landmines Group are still hoping to hold discussions with Princess Diana, perhaps at her home, Kensington Palace. Nicholas Owen, News at 10, Westminster.
The Scout Association today asked for an inquiry into whether tents it bought from the Ministry of Defence could be contaminated with dangerous pesticides. 2 Scout leaders who've handled the tents are said to be ill with the same symptoms as some Gulf War veterans have shown. Our Defence correspondent Penny Marshall reports.
Accusations that Scouts and Guides could be exposed to chemicals linked to Gulf War syndrome are being taken seriously by the Scout Association. Today they asked the Ministry of Defence to investigate the allegations. This follows reports that 2 Scout leaders have become ill after handling military tents bought from the MOD.
Obviously, we're taking it very, very seriously, although I must say that nearly all Scout equipment around the country from all other groups is purchased brand new and used by them direct from the suppliers. But obviously, an exception like this, where something might have been got from Army surplus, is something we're investigating through.
Tents used in Operation Desert Storm were regularly sprayed with organophosphates. These have been linked to the variety of illnesses now suffered by veterans known as Gulf War syndrome. The MOD says it sells about £500,000 worth of second-hand textiles a year, but has no records of what equipment was used in the Gulf. Veterans want an inquiry.
My family's been in the Scout movement for over 50 years, and if it has come to light that the tents that the Scout movement are using have been contaminated with these organic phosphates that were used in the Gulf on the troops out there, then it is gross negligence on the behalf of the MOD.
Despite the speed with which the government has moved on Gulf War syndrome, this has obviously caught officials by surprise, and they are dubious, pointing out that the effects of pesticides could not possibly last this long. Whilst acknowledging the concerns of the Scout Association, for many in the military, this will be an accusation too far. Penny Marshall, News at 10, at the Ministry of Defence.
British military bands played a farewell concert in a Hong Kong stadium tonight, 5 days ahead of the handover. The concert was free and most of the audience Chinese. For the British expats, it was a bit like the last night of the proms. ITN's Paul Davis was there.
One by one, the old trappings of empire are disappearing. Tonight, the mass bands of the British garrison were making their last public performance before leaving Hong Kong, ending a tradition that dates back 156 years. While the territory is getting used to ceremonial goodbyes, Britain is having to get used to making concessions to China. Having agreed to the early arrival of Chinese troops, the Foreign Office has announced it will, after all, be sending representatives to the swearing-in of the new Chinese legislature. Tonight, however, was not about the difficult reality of handing over power, the farewell repertoire unashamedly mixing patriotism with nostalgia.
It's sad, really. It's very sad. The start of all the events with the handover sort of thing, you know. So I think it's quite sad.
It's a happy time. Yeah, because I'm Chinese.
The two communities, those who are staying and those who are going, joined together in a rendition of Auld Lang Syne. Led by Governor Chris Patten, whose job ends just over 5 days from now. At midnight next Monday, these same musicians will sound the final goodbye at the ceremony in which the territory is officially handed over to Chinese rule. Paul Davis, News at 10, Hong Kong.
More news to come tonight, including BA staff threaten to strike. Will there be holiday chaos this summer? A sad farewell to the master of the marine world, tributes to Jacques Cousteau. And a Wimbledon washout, but has it dampened the fans' enthusiasm?
We had to get up at 3:30 this morning. And we've been queuing for about 3 hours this morning.
In the rain, and the cold, and the wet.
Vauxhall are offering free air conditioning as part of a £1,900 saving on the Vectra and Astra Arctics. And 0% finance. Interested?
Las Colinas Chardonnay at $3.99. Thrasher Wine Shops, adventures in wine, guaranteed.
Oh, no. How am I going to sort this lot out?
Don't worry, Mr. Jones.
All these other insurance companies.
We'll do all that.
I'll have to take a day off going around garages getting estimates.
No, leave that to us.
But we still have to get it picked up.
No, we'll get it picked up. No problem.
When do we have to come and get it?
Don't worry. We'll deliver it back for you.
I wonder if it'll be...
Cleaned inside and out and looking like new.
Well, it certainly looks good.
It's better than that, Mr. Jones. All the work is covered by a 3-year guarantee.
For easy, low-cost motor insurance...
Better talk direct. To Direct Line.
St. Ivel-shaped strawberry heaven.
Mm.
Mm. Mm. You're enjoying that?
I'd enjoy it even more if you'd stop chewing my flippin' ear.
New St. Ivel-shaped desserts. Have you had some lately?
This summer, don't suffer from hay fever. Take Claritin Allergy and get back to normal fast. One small tablet can relieve all your symptoms and gives you 24 hours relief without making you drowsy.
The new Ericsson GH688. Made for business, good for life.
Why are nationwide customers so well off? Because as a building society, we're able to ensure great value year after year. That's why it pays to decide nationwide, the world's #1 building society.
Welcome back. Holiday flights this summer are threatened with disruption after an overwhelming vote for industrial action by BA cabin crews. The result of a strike vote by ground staff will also be known soon. BA's chief executive said today he wouldn't allow what he called 1970s-style trade unionism to stand in the way of services. Our business editor, Mark Webster, reports.
Taking off as normal tonight, this threat of massive disruption comes in the middle of a huge efficiency exercise aimed at saving BA £1 billion a year. But with cabin staff strikes starting as early as July, British Airways says it will do everything possible to keep services running.
My message to my customers is that it's business as usual.
Will you be able to fly a substantial proportion of your flights?
I intend to keep British Airways flying, even if there is a strike, which I very much hope there will not be.
More than 3,000 British Airways cabin crew have already accepted a restructuring deal, which gives them increases in basic pay instead of a complex system of allowances, when a majority of those in this ballot objected to what they said was the imposition of a deal.
All we're asking is that we have a negotiation. We're not making any other demand other than to sit down and come to a proper agreement with their employees. So the demand isn't revolutionary, it's not extreme, it's a very simple one, it's good to talk.
What's more, this dispute seems certain to intensify. Next week, there'll be the announcement of another ballot of 9,000 British Airways baggage handlers and ground crew. Though their dispute is completely separate, involving the privatisation of British Airways catering services, the union is confident that they too will vote in favour of industrial action. With no immediate prospect of fresh talks, it looks like a summer of discontent for the 100,000 passengers BA carries every day in peak periods. Mark Webster, News at 10, Heathrow Airport.
The Labour MP for Blinar Gwent, Lou Smith, tonight repeated his claim that he'd been threatened with expulsion from the party if he campaigned against the government's devolution plans. Earlier, the Prime Minister said in the Commons he was satisfied that no threats had been made. Mr Smith said tonight that he was sad to say Mr Blair was wrong. He insisted the World Secretary Ron Davis had told him he would be kicked out of the party if he was going to campaign against a Welsh Assembly. Jacques Cousteau, the French environmentalist who invented the aqualung and pioneered underwater camera work, died today at the age of 87. He's best remembered here for his undersea world films, which were shown on TV back in the 60s and 70s. But he went on diving and campaigning against marine pollution to the end of his life. Helen Wright reports.
On board his research ship, the Calypso, Jacques Cousteau travelled the world's oceans, sharing his adventures with millions. For many of those viewers, he opened up the kingdom of the deep for the first time.
The cuttlefish ripples its pigmentation, changing color. And as if to mimic the underwater light panel, dapples in white.
Cousteau was also a committed environmental campaigner, lobbying to preserve the Antarctic, telling the world how on one trip there, the Calypso was hit by icebergs.
Some of them banged into my ship, bursting a hole in the port rear 2 feet above the waterline.
An explorer, oceanographer and submariner, he was decorated for his services to the environment and won awards for his films.
Well, he certainly was definitely the best ambassador that France has ever had, and ultimately became a world spokesperson. And not that he really cared to go down in history, but he definitely will.
And today his widow said she would continue Cousteau's work with formidable determination.
Aujourd'hui, en ce jour terrible pour moi, pour ses enfants.
Despite her grief, she'll lead mourners at a memorial service for Cousteau next week in Paris. Helen Wright, News at 10.
Jacques Cousteau, who died today. The government is to review the law on phone tapping after today's legal victory by the former Assistant Chief Constable of Merseyside, Alison Halford. She's been awarded £10,000 in damages by the European Court after her phone was illegally tapped when she complained of sex discrimination. Mohammed Sawar, the Labour MP facing bribery allegations, has been suspended from holding party office. A report into the allegations against him, which he denies, was unanimously accepted by a Labour inquiry. And police using helicopters have recovered the bodies of a man and a baby boy who fell to their deaths at Beachy Head in Sussex. The man from Hayes in West London apparently threw himself and his 2 sons from the cliff. The body of the other child, aged 3, hasn't been found. And now we return to Hong Kong and the question of the freedoms its people will be allowed after next Monday. It will ultimately be answered in Beijing, but a key role will be played by the new Chief Executive or Governor, C.H. Tung. This Liverpool football fan says he cares passionately about human rights. But could he, in the words of one Hong Kong Democrat, turn out to be a good man forced to do evil? Our Asia correspondent Mark Austin talked to him for tonight's special report.
With British rule almost over, Hong Kong is proudly showing its Chinese face, and the face that matters belongs to C.H. Tung. He's the man everybody wants to be seen with, everyone wants to talk to. He's China's chosen one, the man who will lead Hong Kong into the post-colonial era.
And what will your emotions be when the British flag is lowered and the Chinese flag is raised?
I think as a Chinese person, I will be very proud this has happened, because don't forget, 156 years ago marked the beginning of a long period of humiliation of China as a nation, Chinese as a people. And this represents a new beginning.
He's vocally supported by his wife Betty, who, to the delight of the media, has been performing her own reunification song. The pride of homecoming will forever be carved in my heart, she sings. Born into a wealthy Shanghai family that fled to Hong Kong from the Communist Revolution in 1949, Tung was educated in Britain, in Bournemouth and Liverpool. Soon he'd taken the helm of his father's multi-billion-pound shipping empire. But when in the 80s the business was on the brink of collapse, it was China who bailed him out. Now President Jiang Zemin has picked him out to do Hong Kong's top job. Critics say Beijing's looking for political payback.
I'm afraid Mr. Tung is a good man who might be forced to do evil. Unfortunately, the public perception is that he is Beijing's apologist rather than the defender of Hong Kong.
Martin Lee is Hong Kong's most popular politician. He'll lose his job when China scraps the democratically elected legislature on July the 1st. He and other activists fear elections promised next year will be rigged to sideline the Democrats.
I think the future of democracy in Hong Kong is very dim, and we are very pessimistic. We are very concerned that the elections to be held next year would not be democratic and fair.
Mr. Tung echoes China's view on democracy and human rights, the view that more important are the livelihoods of the people.
We all care passionately about human rights, but some countries, some community, they care more about clothing for everybody, housing for everybody, education for everybody.
As Mr. Tung prepares to see off the last colonial governor, he concedes he has fond memories of Britain, particularly Liverpool, home of his favourite football team.
And I guess if they get into the FA Cup next year, final next year, I will go and watch them play, if I can.
But once Mr. Tung is sworn in this building behind me on July the 1st, watching Liverpool Football Club will be the last thing on his mind. Instead, he'll be grappling with an almost impossible job, balancing the will of his communist masters with the wishes of the people of Hong Kong. And he'll be doing it all under the watchful eyes of the world. Mark Austin, News at 10, Hong Kong.
The numbers in tonight's midweek lottery draw are 12, 17, 27, 28, 38 and 40, and the bonus number is 6. There were 3 winners, each collecting £1.6 million. Cricket, Warwickshire's wicketkeeper Keith Piper was fined £500 today and banned for 1 match for failing a drugs test. Piper, who's also played for the England A side, tested positive for cannabis on Monday. The main headlines again. The crew of the Russian space station Mir are working tonight to repair damage caused by a collision with an unmanned cargo vessel. The accident earlier today left the spacecraft holed and badly dented. And the Prime Minister has said he wants peace talks in Northern Ireland to start by September and finish by next May. And finally, it was the rain which won at Wimbledon today. The organisers hope to get the players on court an hour earlier tomorrow, but are already wondering if they'll have to schedule matches for the middle Sunday of the championships. From Wimbledon, our sports correspondent Graham Miller reports.
The forecast was awful, but they still queued to get in. It takes more than the prospect of the wettest June since 1991 to put Wimbledon fans off. They were here, and that was enough.
We've come from Pauline Dorset. We had to get up at 3:30 this morning. And we've been queuing for about 3 hours this morning.
In the rain.
And the cold and the wet.
My son and I have come down from Newcastle upon Tyne today, driven down this morning, and we're clearly disappointed, but the weather dictates what happens at Wimbledon, unfortunately. It's one of those things.
Inside, the picture was pretty depressing. All courts covered, and after waiting for most of the day, a lot of fans just had to go. Even defending champion Richard Krajicek was sent home.
Long day, but I'm happy they called it off before the sun went down, so at least I have something of my day left.
And then just before 6 o'clock, after a lot of people had gone home, the skies cleared, they rolled back the covers, and play finally got underway. Monica Seles, the women's number 2, was first on centre court. She wasted no time in rolling over Australian Rachel McKillen in 2 easy sets, despite another break for rain. And then revealed just how frustrating all the waiting around has become.
It was tough because I was supposed to play Monday, so I was here all day Monday, and I was expecting to play yesterday, because so I was kind of surprised I didn't play yesterday. And today I was lucky to be first, but it's tough on all the players.
Greg Rosetsky was another to suffer. He went home tonight just hoping for better things tomorrow. Trouble is, the umbrella may just be right. Graham Miller, News at 10, Wimbledon.
And that's the news. Good night.
Hello, good evening. Well, our weather's certainly in an unsettled mood at the moment. Here's the reason why. Low pressure in charge. And over the next 24 hours or so, things will be fairly slow moving as that low drags the rain southwards with clearer weather tucking in behind. Now, what's more, we've northerly winds sticking in, and that means it'll be cool virtually everywhere. Now, as far as tomorrow goes, we go into the day on a grey and grisly note for England and Wales with some heavy and rather persistent rain. Brighter weather over Scotland and Northern Ireland, but still with a couple of showers. And would you believe some of these could even be wintry in nature over the mountain tops there. Then during the course of the afternoon, this brighter weather sinks slowly southwards, but on the whole, things will remain pretty grey, damp and miserable for most of England and Wales. Our temperatures are fair old struggling tomorrow. 12s and 13s. 13 is 55 in Fahrenheit, 16 at best in the Glasgow area, that's 61. Add on the winds and it'll feel even cooler. In fact, we're expecting those winds to reach gale force on the eastern side of the country at times during the day tomorrow. That's all from me. Good night.
Power gen, generating electricity whatever the weather.
The last governor is leaving, China is reclaiming Britain's last major outpost. As the colonial sun sets in one of the world's most vibrant, prosperous cities, what will the new era of Chinese rule bring? Join me, Trevor McDonald, to say farewell to Hong Kong, Tuesday at 10:40 on Carlton.
It never ceases to amaze me what one human being can do to another.
The horrors of real-life investigations. Murder Squad starts Tuesday at 9 on Carlton.
Page 3 stunner Gayle Tuesday will be here in 10 minutes, expressing everything in the comedy zone, Gayle's World. That's after London Tonight, coming up next.
New from Toyota, the most desirable Corolla ever.
New Nutrair Bin Odor Neutralizer from Hayes.
Right, boys, let's go.
Gets rid of bad smells by releasing its odor-neutralizing active agents for up to 4 weeks. Nutrair Bin Odor Neutralizer, another effective solution from Nutrair.
New improved Mr. Sheen has a unique anti-static dust guard that now keeps dust away for 5 days. New Mr. Sheen keeps dust away for 5 days.
Oh, I love a comfy life.
What's more comfortable than free credit for 5 years? The easier, the better. Everything's free for the first year. Now, what could be easier?
You know, I could get used to this.
Why not? There's 20% off everything in our Barclay Magna range.
Busy? Frantic.
It's all happening at DFS.
Great combination offer ends Sunday at Sidcup, New Malden, Croydon, Milton Keynes, Reading and South Ruislip.
The Woolwich,
has always been known for mortgages and savings. But today's Woolwich offers you PEPs, unit trusts, and a variety of bonds as well. And now with the Woolwich, you can not only insure your house and its contents, but your car, your holiday, and even your life.
Are you with the Carnival? No, we're with the Woolwich.
Get much more with the Woolwich.
Fresh blackcurranty taste and vitamin C goodness of Ribena with no added sugar.
Tonight, the world's most famous gowns go under the hammer at the auction of the century. With bidders from around the world, the prices could hit the ceiling. So just how much will they pay? We'll be live from New York with price tags that are bound to raise a few eyebrows. Start the proceedings with a bang tomorrow on GMTV.
Good evening, I'm Jill Impey. This is London Tonight. First tonight, a father from Hayes in West London has killed his 2 tiny children and himself by plunging over Beachy Head. Accountant John Chedwin's body and that of his 9-month-old baby son were found at the foot of cliffs at the notorious Sussex suicide spot.
The grim task of recovering the bodies, a joint police and Coast Guard operation in appalling weather. Tonight, the search has been continuing for Mr. Chetwin's 3-year-old son in a hope that it hasn't yet been swept out to sea. It's difficult, dangerous and harrowing.
When it comes to a situation like this with an adult and children, then when we're looking for children, it becomes that more poignant and it becomes a little bit more difficult to take sometimes.
Police had been searching for the 3 after Mr. Chetwin's wife was beaten with a baseball bat at her home in Hayes in West London in what appears to be a domestic incident. They discovered his car at the top of cliffs at around 7 this morning. The police are treating the case as a double murder and suicide.
To find the body of an adult and a child at the bottom of the cliff, working on the assumption that the child didn't find its own way there, I've got to treat it as suspicious until I can prove otherwise.
The area is a notorious suicide spot. The cliff has a 400-foot drop. Once again, questions are being asked. What could drive a man, not just to take his own life, but to kill his 2 children as well? No more so than here, the quiet road where the family lived in Hayes. He seemed to be a nice guy, say neighbours.
I used to speak to him every now and again, and he was so friendly. He was so friendly.
Mr. Chetwin's wife is recovering in hospital tonight after the attack on her, but her ordeal is surely just beginning. From other neighbours I've spoken to, there's total disbelief that anything like this could have happened here. But tonight, a woman is in hospital, having to face up to the fact that her husband and 2 children are dead. In Hayes, this is Owen Thomas for London Tonight.
13 people needed hospital treatment today after a packed rush hour train hit the buffers at Victoria Station. The accident happened just after 8 this morning. The Connex South Eastern train from Ashford International Station in Kent hit the buffers on platform 8. None of the injuries were serious. The driver was breath tested, which is standard procedure, and that proved negative. The government has survived an opposition censure motion over its plans for London Underground. In the Commons, the Minister of Transport, Gavin Strang, said an option of wholesale privatisation of the tube had been totally ruled out. The Tory motion, brought about after a ministerial leak, was defeated by 375 votes to 146. 6 guards from Securicor have tonight been suspended by the prison service after a jury said lack of care contributed to the death of a man found hanging in his West London court cell. The jury returned a verdict of accidental death on Peter Austin, who died at Brentford Magistrates Court last January. Securicor were responsible for Peter Austin at the time.
Securicor had brought Peter Austin to Brentford Magistrates Court, where he was due to appear on a burglary charge. But when he was seen hanging in his cell after turning his T-shirt into a noose, a guard thought he was just acting and his jailers did nothing for up to 10 minutes. Amazingly, the magistrates were even invited into the cell to start a bail hearing as he lay on the floor, probably dead. Again, Securicor guards were convinced he was well. As the verdict was announced, Mr. Austin's mother started to weep uncontrollably and had to leave the coroner's court. The family may now sue Securicor.
He did not deserve to die in these circumstances, and his memory lives on with all of us.
We are deeply concerned about the appropriateness of privatised security firms looking after prisoners.
But Securicor says it will learn any lessons and improve staff training.
A full internal inquiry will be starting immediately to determine what further action may be appropriate in these circumstances.
Does that mean the staff involved will be disciplined, even sacked?
I have nothing to add to the statement I've just given to you.
There's no doubt the family would like the Securicor staff involved sacked, and the coroner will now send a file on this case to the Home Office. In Hammersmith, this is Gareth Furby for London Tonight.
The former world champion boxer Herbie Hyde appeared in court today facing a charge of curb crawling in North London. Hyde, arrested in Tottenham in April, denied the charge. He was bailed to return to court on August the 27th, his 26th birthday. Finally, the family of the city consultant who survived a 5,000-foot parachute accident said the American instructor who saved him should receive a posthumous award for bravery. Gareth Griffiths, who's 27, is said to be in a serious but comfortable condition. He had 7 hours of surgery on his lower back at Orlando Medical Center Hospital. The instructor he was strapped to turned in midair to take the brunt of the impact when they hit the ground. And that's it. Goodbye from the team.
Carlton Weather, sponsored by First Choice Holidays, for a refreshing choice.
Good evening. It's already a bit of a damp one out there, and I can't see it getting much drier in the next 24 hours. Some rain around tonight, especially to the west of London. Not particularly cold at this stage, lowest around 11. The wind's picking up tomorrow morning, though, and the rain pushing in too. Some heavy bursts, again, especially to the west of London. Some dry spells, but don't rely on them. Through the afternoon, many of us will see some bursts of quite heavy rain. Temperatures, well, they're not going to rise much at all. 13 or 14 Celsius at best, 15 perhaps where it brightens up for any length of time, but they'll dip in any of those heavier bursts of rain. Add on the effect of that wind, and it's certainly going to feel a little bit drafty. The outlook, things slowly warming up, but showers never too far away. Here's a summary.
For a more detailed 5-day outlook, call Weather Update, sponsored by First Choice Holidays on 0891 11 0000.
Robbery is theft with a threat of violence. We want to know if you have information about anyone involved in this sort of crime.
Most robberies take place in the street, with bags and personal property being snatched. Businesses and the people who work for them can be the victims of robbery too. Betting shops, off-licenses and fast food chains are most likely to be robbed.
You can help tackle robbery in London. Call Crimestoppers if you know about this or any other crime. Remember, your call is free. You can give information anonymously and you could be eligible for a cash reward. Call Crimestoppers now on 0800 555 111. That's 0800 555 111.
The best music videos and up-to-date information on the bands you want to know more about, plus the chart rundown and interviews with the artists of the moment.
Watch Videotech.
I only have Videotech.
Videotech.
If it's in, it's on Videotech. Thursdays, 6:30 on Carlton.
Tonight, we are exploring the world of the paranormal.
Investigating claims to powers and abilities we find difficult to believe. What is the human mind capable of? Can people be cured by touch alone? The Paranormal World of Paul McKenna, Tuesday at 8:30 on Carlton.
watched my own exercise video. Blimey, it was hard work. I wanted it to be called Gayle's Workout, but in the end they called it Nympho Vixens on Heat. That's a good thing, isn't it, about educational videos? You could be a lot more explicit than your traditional hardcore sex stuff, you know. But I think it's important that we learn about things like that, because people are so coy, aren't they, about sex. But it's the only qualification I left school with. Because I learned about the birds and bees at a very young age, about how bees visit different flowers and pollinate them, about how some bees prefer doing things with other bees, and some bees like to chain other bees to the bed and whip them. And some bees visit loose flowers in red flower districts. Ooh. It was a big shock to me when I discovered humans were at it as well. But that's the problem, isn't it? We're so euphus. Oh, why isn't there another word for euphemistic? Oh, there, I said it. We're so euphemistic and shy in this country. I mean, I went to the doctor the other day and he asked me if I'd been taking any risks recently. I thought, well, I've been running across roads when the lights aren't red. I've been reheating my korma a few times over. What's he talking about? Apparently what he meant was, was I up the duff? Why didn't he just say? But I must say about my video, don't try some of the stunts at home, girls. And remember, don't sleep with strangers. Because some girls shag blokes, they don't even know what car they drive.
Hello.
And good evening, where?
And here is tonight's Society News. With me, Jammy Hoare.
And me, Liggy Bingley Toffingham.
First tonight, Home Affairs.
The Duchess of York's role as official spokesman for Weight Watchers is in jeopardy tonight, following the discovery at her Kensington home of a cachet of mayonnaise, Thousand Island dressing and salad cream. Police are currently investigating several other anonymous sources.
Meanwhile, speculation continues as to the content of this year's honours list. Several TV personalities are in line for nominations. Miss Barbara Windsor to become a dame, and Sir Bob Geldof to get the Order of the Bath.
Tamara Beckworth has responded to criticism that she's a spoilt little rich girl, insisting that she's actually quite broke and can barely rub two coppers together. Miss Beckworth has since received several unexpected invitations to the Metropolitan Police dinner dance.
Blood sports desk. 15-year-old bachelor Prince William has shot and killed another stag on the Balmoral estate,
making him the one member of the family who still knows how to bring home a fast buck.
There was heartbreak too for the controversial rock icon Liam Gallagher when he and his actress and model bride, Miss Cheesy Whatsit, confirmed rumours that they are to have a trial separation.
Mr. Gallagher and Miss Potty Halfwit are currently being assisted by lawyers in splitting up their joint possessions.
So far, he's got the Rizzler papers and she's got the stash.
Turning away from celebrity gossip, Mr. Keith Chegwin has denied rumours that his old drink problem has resurfaced. He assured both his fans that he was still a firm believer in the old adage, checkers can't be boozers.
This year's Beaujolais Nouveau has finally hit the streets.
The lavatory pans, the sick bags, the shoes of people who didn't get out of the way quickly enough.
Finally, a lottery update.
And tonight's big rollover jackpot of £20 million has gone to a single jackpot winner.
Mr. Richard Branson said he was delighted by the win, but wouldn't let it change his lifestyle.
That's all today's Society News, but we'll be back tomorrow with all the latest breaking
marriages.
So from Licky
and me, Jammy, it's good night and
ciao!
Flasham on the Hill is a quiet village, a picture postcard of English country life. But the peace and tranquility of this quiet village green is being cruelly interrupted. One member of the local community has been struck down by the modern disorder innuendoitis. Little is known about this condition, except that it seems to affect only men and can vary from a mild carry-on to a full-blown British seaside humour. Some experts believe it may be as a result of watching too many 70s sitcoms. But one thing is certain, life in this picturesque hamlet will never be the same again, because Ivor Tiddler's life is ruled by innuendo.
Oh, Mr. Brown, getting your plums out early this morning. Morning, ladies. Any buns in the oven this morning? What can you tempt me with then, Mrs. Ledbetter? Ah, your tarts fresh? I can see they are. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one of your tasty tarts this morning.
Well, we've seen the public consequences of this condition, but what's it like behind closed doors? Is the wife of Ivor Tiddler suffering in silence?
So how are you coping?
Well, it's less embarrassing in the village. The little Bob is very good about the compliments on his shiny helmet, and the vicar always smiles when Ivor asks him can he take a look at his organ at the back of the church. When we tried to go to France last year, and Ivor asked the customs lady if she fancied having a rummage through his enormous package, she put him in quarantine. You see, it only affects the British mail, and they're rather worried about it spreading across Europe. It's highly contagious.
So life isn't easy for Mrs. Tiddler, and for Ivor's neighbours, the strain is beginning to show.
Hello, Mr. Tiddler.
Hello! I've been purveying the state of your ear this afternoon, and I'm here to offer my services with any help you might need with the sweeping of your back passage.
Don't worry, Mr. Tiddler. I've got some help in the garden.
Oh, got someone on the job, eh? Get it in, Daly!
Doctors are desperately searching for a miracle cure for this highly contagious disorder. This is Ken Andrew reporting for Gayle's World News. At the end of the day, getting to grips with a nice big stiff one. Mine's a large one. Do you fancy one? Hey, what?
We wanted to let you see what it's like to be rich and famous, what it's like to lead a glamorous lifestyle. So I decided to let our film crew accompany me on a day out with my best mate, another TV sex symbol, hello's Vicky Michelle. But as you'll see from the film, the day took a dramatic twist. And if you've been wondering why you haven't seen Vicky in any of the papers or on the TV for a couple of weeks, this sensational film will explain why.
Gayle, what are you doing here?
What's going on? Oh, Vicky, you look nice. You doing a kinky shoot for Rubber Monthly? I probably spoke to them.
No, I'm not. Look, Gayle, I didn't want you to know this, but now that you're here, I may as well reveal the truth.
What are you on about?
Quick, get in.
Oh, is this some sort of Ann Summers party?
Gayle, there's something you ought to know. All my years of Allo Allo TV fame, that was just a ruse. A way of infiltrating the media. God, it's been hard masquerading as a lightweight all these years.
What are you on about? Oh, my God, Vicky. Didn't the appearances on Celebrity Squares or Noel's house party mean anything to you?
That was just a foil, you fool. It was all part of a bigger plan. A master plan for women to rule the world.
Women rule the world? Mark Grant wouldn't like that.
We are committed to spoiling men's fun. To make them do things for us they've always hated.
Have you been drinking?
No, and I'm not alone. For years, my generals and I have been hoodwinking TV moguls, successfully disguising ourselves as bimbo airheads for lightweight shows. It was a stroke of genius. Who would suspect what we were planning? And now we are on the verge of securing female world supremacy. A word of warning, Gayle. The information you hear within these four walls must never be repeated. It is entirely confidential. And we deal with traitors in the most severe manner. And we've had one or two. Cast your mind back to this woman. She betrayed the cause. Instead, she embraced the world of fluffy TV. She actually started enjoying fronting shows full of nonsense and drivel. We deal with such traitors harshly. Remember her little fall on the ski slopes? That was no accident. I shall now introduce you to my generals. General 1.
Kathy Lloyd, Head of Intelligence, code name Brains. General in charge of Phase 1, spoiling men's football.
And what are you planning?
To sabotage the England versus Germany match in pubs throughout England, Ma'am.
Inspired, General.
Thank you, Ma'am.
General 2.
Daniela Westbrook, Head of Military Operations. Code name Widow Twanky. General in charge of Phase 2, spoiling men's Saturdays.
And what are you planning, General?
To make men go shopping with their wives, ma'am.
Good work, General.
Thank you, ma'am.
General 3.
Sarah Cox, Head of Girly TV, codename TV Totty. General in charge of Phase 3, spoiling men's driving.
And what are you planning, General?
Make men mat read for their wives and be complimentary about women drivers, ma'am.
Good work, TV Totty. But once again, I have to reprimand you. Too many times you've been showing intelligence whilst on the air. This has got to stop. Otherwise, I shall have no alternative but to replace you with a far more believable bimbo. GMTV's Fiona Phillips. Well, we're ready. The time has come to put our plans into action. Good luck, everyone. Now, let us chant our message to all men. Your time has come, no more fun. Your time has come, no more fun. Your time has come.
Will Vicky and her die-hard dollies achieve their dream of world supremacy? Can Gayle save the day? Or will men get toppled from their power?
Tune in next week to see what happens when killer bimbos bite back.
L'Oreal introduced the greatest innovation since the kiss. Color Endure non-transfer lip color. Color Endure stays on you.
And only you.
Won't budge, won't leave marks.
Won't kiss you goodbye.
L'Oreal brings you moisturizing lip color that won't leave marks.
Nothing feels so right.
Color Endure in 30 fantastic shades. No one offers you more, just like true love.
Color endures.
Color Endure, the first non-transfer lip color by L'Oreal.
Life is all about priorities. Magnum from Walls.
You'll never guess what happened last night.
Police smashed through our windows on ropes and arrested my husband and all four of my children.
Oh, yeah?
So I missed Emmerdale, Brookside and EastEnders.
Oh, poor thing.
What happened?
Well, Jackie's still partially blinded after Leanne, her friend and a secret prostitute, threw acid in her face. Kim Tate came back from the dead and murdered her husband, who was accused of her murder, and Ian...
Which one's Ian?
He's the one whose wife hired someone to shoot him.
Oh, and she's having an affair with both brothers, isn't she?
Talking of which, Dan wants to go and visit his brother Nat, who's only living in sin with his own sister.
I'm sorry, call me old-fashioned, but I couldn't have sex with my brother.
Mind your brother doesn't look like Nat Simpson.
True. I'll tell you what I miss, David Wicks.
Is he the one who's dad to his stepbrother's fiancée?
He's his stepbrother's father-in-law.
Oh, and his son's a schizophrenic.
Not surprised.